Okay, we're live on YouTube and everything's up and going. Thank you.
All right, we got about less than a minute, I think. Oh, 7:30. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the December 15th, 2020 Oxford City Council meeting to order. Ms. Eaton, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Bracken.
Here.
Mr. Ellerby.
Here.
Mr. Prithridge.
Here.
Ms. Ragu. Mr. Snavely.
Here.
Ms. Southard.
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here. All right, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'm so move.
Moved by Mr. Snavely, second.
Seconded.
Second by Councilor Southard. Ms. Eaton, will you call the roll to approve the agenda?
Mr. Ellerby.
Yes.
Mr. Prithridge.
Yes.
Ms. Ragu.
Yes.
Mr. Snavely.
Yes.
Ms. Southard.
Yes.
Mr. Bracken.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. All right, we will start tonight with public participation and we will move straight to public comments. Anyone wishing to address council about items not on the agenda or on the consent agenda, please state your name and address for the record. Mrs. Green, is there anyone who wishes to address council?
See one guest attending, but no raised hands. So I think
All right. At that point, we will move on to the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Moved by Vice Mayor Snavely, second.
Second.
Second by Councilor Prithridge. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none. Ms. Eaton, will you please call the roll to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Prithridge.
Yes.
Ms. Ragu.
Yes.
Mr. Snavely.
Yes.
Ms. Southard.
Yes.
Mr. Bracken.
Yes.
Mr. Ellerby.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. All right, we move on. We have no resolutions tonight. Moving on to ordinances, we have no first readings, but we have a couple of second readings. So Ms. Eaton, you may read the first second reading whenever you're ready.
An ordinance levying upon the lots and lands enumerated in the list of estimated assessments, the amounts set forth on such list, and setting forth terms for payment of assessments.
I have a motion to adopt.
I move we adopt it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Snavely. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Councilor Southard. Mr. Dreisbach, anything you'd like to add tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing new since first reading. And again, there were no objections to this piece of legislation.
All right. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this ordinance before council?
there is not. Thank you.
All right. Any council questions or discussion? All right. I'm seeing none. Ms. Eaton, you may call the roll.
Ms. Ragu.
Yes.
Mr. Snavely.
Yes.
Ms. Southard.
Yes.
Mr. Bracken.
Yes.
Mr. Ellerby.
Yes.
Mr. Prithridge.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. All right. Now our second reading tonight, I believe Mr. Newland has asked if we could substitute in a corrected version of the ordinance.
I move to substitute.
All right. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Councilor Ellerby. Ms. Eaton, will you call the roll to accept the substituted ordinance, please?
Mr. Snavely.
Yes.
Ms. Southard.
Yes.
Mr. Bracken.
Yes.
Mr. Ellerby.
Yes.
Mr. Prithridge.
Yes.
Ms. Ragu.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. All right. Now, Ms. Eaton, will you please read the substitute of the second reading ordinance for us, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance 3538, supplemental budget ordinance number 9, to make supplemental appropriations for fiscal year 2020.
Move
All right.
adoption.
Adoption by Vice Mayor Snavely, second.
Seconded.
Second by Councilor Southard. All right. Mr. Newland.
Excuse me, yes. I'll just go through them all. I added 4 new items, I believe. First reading, or 5 items, a lot of things happen at the end of the year. The first item is to make an adjustment to the budget appropriations for the removal of the underground storage tanks in the right-of-way in front of the old Follett's location. That's a appropriation of $33,600. The second item is to make an adjustment for the receipt of CARES funds from Butler County for the business grants and appropriations to issue the grants and to advance the money to local coronavirus relief fund from the general fund and the repayment of the advance. So that's going to be an increase in the revenue side of $106,714 to the local coronavirus relief fund for the advance from the general fund, the same amount in the general fund for the repayment of the advance from the local coronavirus relief fund. And on the expense side, an increase in the general fund of $106,714 for the advance to the coronavirus relief fund. And then on the coronavirus relief fund, the same increase in appropriation for the repayment of advance to the general fund. The next item is just cleaning up monies that we had left over in the South Point Tip Capital Improvement Fund. There was $1,264.08 left in there, and proposing to transfer that money to the South Point Tip Debt Service Fund. So the increase in the revenues of the South Point Tip Debt Service Fund of $1,264.08, and on the Capital Improvement Fund, decreasing the appropriation for the construction of the South Point Tip roadway of $1,264.08, then increasing the appropriations to transfer $1,064.08 to the South Point Tip Debt Service Fund. And those were funds left over from the borrowing that we did on the bonds, and you have to use that money to pay off the debt. You can't use it for any other purpose. So that's just moving it to the debt service fund at this point. And the second item is to make an adjustment to budget appropriations to transfer excess funds from the Aquatic Capital Improvement Fund to the Aquatic Debt Service Fund. And this is the same thing. There was $17,137.82 left in the Aquatic Debt Service Fund. So that money will be transferred to the Debt Service Fund. And on the expense side, Aquatic Capital Improvement Fund is a decrease in the Aquatic Center construction by $4,732.44, and increasing the transfer to the Debt Service Fund by $17,137.82. The next one is the county reappropriated the allocation of the CARES funding at the end of November when we sent the amount of money that was left over. There was funds available, so they distributed on the same type of allocation that they did for the first round. So we received an additional $4,284.74, and we'll use that on the expense side for safety service and salary benefits, and that'll be for the EMS fund, and that's a proper use of the funds for the safety services. The next one's to make it a budget appropriation transfer from the general fund to capital improvement fund. And even though our revenues were down quite a bit, we were also quite a bit down on expenditures in the general fund. So I'm proposing taking $650,000 from the general fund and transferring it to the capital improvement fund. There was most of the money that wasn't spent was due to the fact that we had 2 police officers in the police budget. One left in February, and we were getting ready to do the test in March, and then COVID came along. So we weren't able to give the test until recently, and those officers will be, one of them I believe is already appointed, and the next one's close to being. So we had that money left over, and then we had the $308,000 transfer that we were going to do to the aquatic center that we didn't need to do. due to excess funds in the capital improvement fund. So that would move the money for next year, because next year again will be short. This year we had a lot of good things happen. City manager put in place holding spending in March to all department heads, and everybody did a very good job following that. We received, so far we've received 2 reimbursements from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. We've yet to receive the last one. We're supposed to receive another one this month. So that added to our revenue in the general fund. And then other reasons we didn't spend as much in the general fund is due to the fact that the pool wasn't open for the full season. And we also didn't have as many inspections as we had in the budget. So that money will be liquidated and go back into the fund balance at the end of the year. And the final adjustment, and this one I just found out about this weekend, was to make a budget adjustment to revenues and appropriations for the refunds and medical expenditures in the employee benefit fund. On the revenue side, we've received an extra $325,298.70 in reimbursements, higher than what we had in the original budget. And based on our spending, which has been, we've spent close to $500,000 from November 1st until just this past week, and there's another 2 weeks left. And what happens is usually all the expenditures get pushed to the end of the year, and they're trying to get those through in case any of them do go over our limit, and then we'll get reimbursed the following capital in 2021 for anything that went over our cap. Then also the big thing with the medical expenses is during March, when the hospitals weren't able to accept unauthorized procedures, a lot of that got pushed to later in the year, and those bills are just starting to roll through now. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have on these. Thank you.
Let me ask first, is there anyone from the public who would like to address this ordinance before council?
We do not. Thank you.
All right. Council questions or discussion? All right, not seeing any. I think, again, thanks, Mr. Newland, for going through that with us and making the last minute corrections.
Well, thanks for taking the updated ordinance for me.
Absolutely. All right, Ms. Eaton, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Southard,
Yes.
Mr. Bracken,
Yes.
Mr. Ellerby,
Yes.
Mr. Prithridge,
Yes.
Ms. Ragu,
Yes.
Mr. Snavely,
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. All right, that ordinance is adopted. All right, we will now move on to announcements and communications, and I'll start with City Manager Elder.
Thank you. Well, I'll start by providing some updated figures on COVID-19 as it affects our zip code 45056. These figures are provided by Butler County Board of Health. So the updated figure is 416 reported cases, and that represents 2.2% of all reported cases in Butler County as of December 5th, 2020. That figure excludes Miami University students, their cumulative cases, which are at 2,671 as of December 5th, 2020, according to the Board of Health, or 2,492 according to the Miami University dashboard as of December 10th, 2020. So the total reported cases for all of Butler County is 19,141, although they have above the epidemiology report a number of 20,548 as of December 10th. And that both those numbers include Miami University students. So we all know the cases are increasing in Butler County, but we're still at a little over 2% of the total cases. There have been 165 confirmed deaths in Butler County with an average age of 77.2, and the age range of deaths is from 30 to 101. As we all know, under the Ohio Public Health Advisory System, as of December 10th, there are now 78 counties, including Butler County, at a level 3, the red level, public emergency, and 5 counties were declared level 4, purple. Just about all 5 of them are in Northeast Ohio: Medina, Portage, Richland, Stark, and Summit. So I also want to provide you some figures, some information that Mike Everett, CEO with McCullough Hyde Memorial Hospital, shared with me just this evening. We now have at McCullough Hyde Memorial Hospital 7 COVID cases, and only 1 is from our zip code. They still have plenty of capacity. They're at about 50% capacity. And as Mike said, things are trending nicely for McCullough Hyde Memorial Hospital compared to a lot of the other hospitals in Ohio. Also, I can share with you that they do expect the vaccine, and it'll be the Moderna one. And once it's approved, they expect to receive that the first week in January. So I think we've all read in the newspaper and saw on the news that they are starting to distribute it in Ohio and other states throughout the nation. So that is good news. And of course, we still need to be very, very vigilant, continue wearing our masks, social distancing, washing our hands frequently, avoid large gatherings, including family gatherings. And I know that's difficult during the holiday season, but this vaccine rollout will be very, very slow before it gets to the general populace. So, we still need to urge everyone to maintain vigilance. I also want to share some other information with you that's sort of come to the forefront today for a number of reasons. And the first thing that I want to share with you is that, Councilor Snavely asked me to comment on this regarding our agreement with Energy Harbor. And so I reviewed our agreement with Energy Harbor, and I discussed it with our broker, Affordable Gas and Electric, Jordan Harmon, and in regards to what we can do with our contract if individuals or the city does not want to continue with them. So the contract that we have does not permit the city to terminate the agreement unless Energy Harbor loses its certification with the Ohio Public Utilities Commission or is unable to provide the green electric energy that we require in our agreement. So neither situation exists, therefore we must honor our agreement. And I can share with you as well, and I know council knows this, but that during the bid process, only 3 certified supplier companies provided pricing for the city. Energy Harbor had the lowest rate. Affordable Gas and Electric vetted the company before recommending the contract to the city. And City Council adopted the resolution authorizing the city manager to sign the agreement on May 5th, 2020. The fixed rate is 4.71 cents per kilowatt hour for green energy for 3 years, the fixed rate for 3 years. And as we all know, the charges of racketeering against the former Ohio Speaker of the House, who's still in the House and was reelected, to at least my amazement, I think a lot of others, but anyway, and 4 other public officials were made, that those charges were made public after we approved the contract and signed the agreement. And that those charges came forward on July 21st, 2020. No charges have been brought against the company or any of its officials. The former CEO of Energy Harbor and 2 other company officials have left the organization. But if a resident who's in our electric aggregation program does not want to continue doing business with Energy Harbor, they may simply terminate their service agreement without penalty. All they need to do is call, and the number is 1-866-636-3749, or go online to www.energyharbor.com/Oxford to terminate service with Energy Harbor. They can do so without penalty. So then if you do that, then a customer can either choose their own supplier or use Duke Energy's standard service offer. The Duke Energy price to compare, the standard service offer, is now 5.26 cents per kilowatt hour. And that's only good until December 31st, 2020. That price to compare changes frequently. So it's higher than our rate. The other option of choosing their own supplier, you can do that through the PUCO apples to apples comparison. You go online to the PUCO site and look for the apples to apples link. You have to select Duke Energy because they're our distributor. And once you do that, then 182 separate offers will come up in the Duke Energy service area. However, there are only 3 offers with a fixed rate, 0 early termination fee, 76 to 100% renewable, ours is 100%, 0 monthly fee, and a 24-month term. Ours is a 36-month contract. So those terms are similar to the city's electric aggregation program. However, all 3 rates are higher than the city's. So if a resident does not want to do business with Energy Harbor, they have that choice that they can make on their own. And I just want to make that known. But the other thing that happened today that I learned about late in the afternoon, and I did send this out to council, a letter was mailed, a second letter from Duke Energy. And I've sent a letter to their staff urging them to please let me see these letters before they send them out. This one went out, a resident forwarded to me. It's dated December 8th, and it says, AP Energy Inc. has informed us that they will no longer supply your electric commodity service as of December 23rd, 2020. Well, the reason for that is because we picked another supplier and it goes into effect in December. But their letter goes on to say, therefore, your account will be returned to us and Duke Energy will become your electric commodity supplier effective with your meter reading date of December 23rd. Well, that can't jibe because they sent out a letter earlier stating that Energy Harbor is now your provider. So hopefully I'll be getting some answers tomorrow and figuring out, but please, and we'll put this information out on our website too. If you get people that are concerned, let them know that they're in our Energy Harbor program unless they opted out. And we apologize for this confusing letter. And with that, that's all I have tonight. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
Here, let's get Vice Mayor Snavely's got his hand up.
Yeah, first, Doug, I really want to thank you for taking that up. It's been a hot topic of conversation in town. A number of people have called me individually and probably many of my colleagues as well. I really think that we still probably need to send a letter out to all of our customers with our bill, maybe. I don't know, but something needs to be sent out because not everybody reads the newsletter. It's so confusing. And the letter you sent just shows that it is continuing to be as crazy as possible and as hard as possible for people to unwrap. And somebody was saying they thought they were going to be charged $65 to for their service, an extra charge, and it all sounds crazy to me. I really thank you for doing this investigative work and finding out what's going on. I do think that this is probably the best deal for the community, and I think we need to send something out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Councilor Southern.
Is it possible just to do something simple instead of sending a letter out to everybody, just to have it on the bill that do nothing? I mean, we have electrical aggregation. You don't have to do anything to continue being in the electrical aggregation program. If we just do something simple like that, maybe you could encourage that to happen, and that would be a simple solution, and maybe people would be reassured. But yeah, there's been there's a lot of confusion about it, but most people who are just shrugging their shoulders and say, oh yeah, we're in the electrical aggregation program and everything's fine. So, but those letters are quite confusing. And most people don't know that they should just throw them out.
Yeah, Bill.
Unfortunately, I agree with that. a simple thing ought to be enough. I think we all understand it because we're with it. You know, we've been following this. But some very intelligent, sharp people who just aren't cued into all of this are absolutely confused. And so I think we need to find a way. I don't care how long it is. I don't care if you call it a letter, a memo, or a little sticker, as long as it really clarifies all of that information and they don't get confused, because a lot of people are terminally confused.
That's kind of what I was saying, just a little note on the electric bill that would explain this without putting the city to too much extra trouble, because you've all got a lot of work and a lot of things on your plate. So I appreciate that.
Well, and you know, one of the things that I need to make certain is that regardless of what we send out or not, that Duke does not switch them over to the standard service offer. They're not supposed to do that. And so I need to make sure that's not going to happen before we say, don't worry. So I'll find that out. And I think probably I know what you're referring to as the water bill, because, you know, Duke does not allow us to put things on their bill that they send out. But I have gotten their attention. Tim Abbott, whose wife, Tim Abbott, who had some personal things to deal with, quickly wrote me back and said, you know, it's not the case that, you know, we're trying to undermine your program, but, you know, so I have gotten their attention and we'll figure this out. But I figure if we mention it at tonight's meeting, and I also forward the emails to Bob Ratterman, he can get the word out and we'll make sure we get something on the next water bill. And the problem with a personal letter is I don't have the same list that Duke Energy has. And so some water utility customers may or may not be electric customers. But I think if we get the word out to enough people that, hey, everything's okay. If you want to stay on the program, if you're uncomfortable with doing business with Energy Harbor, that's your personal decision and you can leave without a penalty. But understand you're probably going to pay a higher rate. So, but thank you for the comments.
All right. Mr. Dreisbach, anything tonight?
Given the hour, no, sir, Mr. Mayor. Happy holidays to all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move on to Chief Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things, and not to be a downer, but it's the time of year for theft. We've been getting hit pretty hard with thefts, whether that's package thefts from porches, or thefts from motor vehicles, or burglaries. We've had a lot of those. So I would just ask all citizens to take common sense measures, not leave valuables in their car. And then, you know, the lack of guardianship in the Mile Square with a lot of students being gone. I would just ask for people to kind of be more vigilant and call us if they see something suspicious. So encourage anyone who's leaving for the holidays or for students who are on break to sign up for our vacant house list so officers can check on those, and also for landlords to regularly check on their rental property so they can report any issues to us. So that's it.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Newland.
Just happy holidays, and I'm looking forward to seeing 2020 in the rearview mirror.
All right. Chief Deathridge.
Nothing, sir. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Waddell.
I'm going to echo what Joe Newland said. Ready to see 2020 go bye-bye. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
All right. I'll move on to Assistant City Manager Green.
Nothing this evening. Have a happy holidays and a happy new year.
All right. Ms. Eaton, anything you'd like to add?
Nothing tonight except happy holidays and safe holidays. Thank you.
All right. Law Director Kennard, anything tonight?
Other than to say, I feel like I've got many things to be thankful for, and you are among those people that whose friendship I treasure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go around with council. We'll start with Councilor Ragu. Setting such a good example with your mask, and you're still at work. True dedication.
Yeah. I just wanted to poll the people who are here. If you could raise your hand. Does everyone know who Casey Goodson Jr. is? Did I break out a little bit?
You broke up a little bit.
Yeah. Has everyone heard the name Casey Goodson Jr.? If you could, by raise of hand, if you've heard of that.
We have not.
Jess, Edna. Okay. It was a loss of an innocent life in Columbus, who unfortunately was shot as he was trying to enter his house. It was a Black man who's 23 years of age. So that was just in Columbus, not too long ago, isn't getting a whole lot of coverage. So just wanted to draw some attention to the loss of his life.
Thank you. Counselor Ellerby.
Just happy holidays, and to the citizens of Oxford, please be considerate of each other. Thanks.
All right. Vice Mayor Snavely.
Yeah, first, I want to draw your attention to Corey Watt being appointed the new chair of the Planning Commission, and I hope you'll all join me in congratulating him, and I think he'll do a great job. I got a request from one of my neighbors who was involved in a traffic accident to ask the following question. So she wants to know whether the police department and whether EMS wear face masks to accidents and other events. So I'm hoping Chief Jones is still on. She was involved in a serious accident. She didn't know, she's a healthcare provider, so she's very aware of these things. And the people who came to the scene, she said there were a number of different jurisdictions, and she was not sure whether Oxford was one of them, but she said that none of the police who arrived and none of the EMS who arrived were wearing face masks, and it terrified her. So I said I would ask. Chief?
Yeah, so Vice Mayor Snavely, I can answer from a police perspective. Oftentimes we are wearing masks, but there's oftentimes we are not. And it just depends on the situation. Police and public safety are exempt from the mask ordinances. And honestly, it just depends on the situation. A lot of times when you're out of the car, you try to keep your distance. You don't put a mask on right away. And then when you're going to come back and issue a citation or interact with someone closely, and then you have time to get a mask on, you do. So, without knowing the specifics of the situation, they're not required to wear a mask. But I was at a traffic crash earlier today where I jumped out to stop. It was on the railroad tracks, and I didn't have a mask on. And when my officers arrived who were taking over, they got out with masks on. And then, then I got out of the way. So every situation is different, but public safety, there's various reasons that I won't go into that they shouldn't wear masks in some situations, but we try to, especially to make people feel more comfortable.
Thank you. I'm also concerned about the safety of our police officers, because I know a number of them have been nationwide have fallen to this disease.
Yeah, a lot of officers have succumbed to COVID, so we're very aware of that. We've been fortunate that we've done a good job. We haven't been exempt from it, but we haven't really had the spread within of our aid station. So.
I appreciate that. I appreciate our police department and our fire department. Then I just want to wish everyone happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy this festive time, even if we're not able to be together with everyone that we'd like to be. The vaccine is coming out, so there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not another train.
All right. We'll go to Counselor Southard.
I too want to wish everybody a happy season of light, and we need more light. And so, enjoy candles and being together, with the ones you love, but not staying safe and healthy. I hope that everybody tries to stay safe and healthy throughout this season. One of really nice things about Oxford is that we can find ways to enjoy Oxford to enjoy ourselves in safe ways. We have a beautiful trail system that I have to say I walk on almost every day, and usually run into people I know. Today I ran into Gail Breyer, who is retired Parks and Recreation Director, and she also wanted to wish everybody a safe and joyous holiday season. So we are lucky to have these beautiful areas, to have a state park within 10 minutes of our homes, and to have an uptown that is so nice and so light and bright. The lights uptown and the Oxford Community Arts Center look beautiful, and I think everybody's done a great job. I don't know how the Dora is proceeding, but it is an attempt to bring people uptown. And, there are ways to enjoy this beautiful area and to be safe and happy and enjoy the holidays as well. So happy holidays, everybody.
All right. Councilor Bracken.
Yeah, going to repeat what everybody else said. Happy holidays to everyone. Please stay safe, make smart decisions for yourself, your family, and everybody else. And have a good one. That's all.
All right. Councilor Prithridge.
Well, I know we're trying to keep it short, but I think looking back in the rearview mirror, 2020 has been tough. But I think we in the city of Oxford, both the city and our community, have a lot to be proud of in 2020. If you look back a year ago, it seems like a million years ago that it was 2019. And if you think back of all the changes that have happened, all that we've accomplished as a council, all that staff has done, the conversations that we've had as a community, we not only kind of dealt with some things that were thrust onto our plate, but I think we dealt with them in a really good way, and we kept moving forward on things. So we can look forward to 2021, not only coming out of COVID, but we've got plans to revise our comprehensive plan and to continue to get through COVID and to continue some of the conversations we've had about police and public safety reform, sustainability. So I look forward to a really productive 2021. If we were able to do what we did in 2020, burdened by everything we were burdened with, I look forward to really moving forward towards the future in 2021. And for that, I'm very, very grateful to work with all of you. And if Doug and department heads could communicate to their staff just how proud we on council are of the hard work that City of Oxford employees do. And no one's here looking at watching us, but our community partners have been amazing in all this too. So I think it's been a good year. I mean, it's been terrible, but I think if we look back on it, I think we'll have a lot of pride in the rearview mirror of 2020. So thank you to everyone. And happy holidays and happy New Year.
I'm just going to close with a plug for Oxford. Our uptown is beautiful with our lights. And if you haven't driven around the various neighborhoods, I actually had somebody use the term festooned with lights, all our various neighborhoods. So please pay us a visit. We are very socially distanced, and we have a lot to offer for anybody who's looking to make an escape for a few hours or an afternoon or a Saturday. Echoing everybody else, happy holidays, happy New Year. We're in the middle of Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah. We're in the home stretch, so don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing and stay safe. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn. Happy New Year.
Have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilor Southard. Ms. Eaton, you may call the roll so we may adjourn.
Mr. Bracken,
Yes.
Mr. Ellerby,
Yes.
Mr. Prithridge,
Yes.
Ms. Ragu,
Yes.
Mr. Snavely,
Yes.
Ms. Southard,